There is also an exit room, but it's quite hard to find on a 10 by 10 grid.
It is hard to find. Let's show them the exit room. So if I recall correctly, I need to be in the tiles script, and then I can come down here and this one here, isn't it? So if I make this really, really small, he says, brilliant.
You should teach the coding course.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing the Python thing at the moment, so.
Good evening, Daz. How are you, mate?
Hey, Daz. So this is a much smaller one, so it's going to be a lot easier to find the end room.
He says.
He says. It must be here somewhere. There it is. So you may recall the giant skull from before, and then this will obviously load up the next dungeon down, which we could just fake at the moment. I could do that, and no one would be any the wiser.
I mean, I was going to fake it with a corridor and stuff. Right now, it's just, yeah.
So yes, it's coming on. Awesome, and it makes such a difference seeing the assets in
I tell you,
life.
God of War's SDFGI and volumetrics and the new particle systems make such a huge difference. Like just the look and feel of this thing as it is. Like these walls, not the curvy ones, but the ones in the rooms, are very, very much placeholder, but they don't look ready. Right? Suddenly they don't match everything else. Like they're too regular, too clean.
Yeah, so these are deliberately regular and clean, and then I'm using a few tricks in Blender to get stuff like this, which is obviously much more along the lines of what we want. That's a bit messy.
There is, by the way, a volumetric fog node at the bottom of the stairs, which is why it's so cloudy with lots of little god rays.
Yeah, and I'm stuck.
How? I mean, I know how. I put a simple convex collider on the sarcophagus rather than just make it a box.
Yeah.
So there is stuff to get stuck on. You can, in theory, go higher than 10 by 10, but 20 by 20 takes forever to generate, and it's not worth it. We don't have that many rooms. It's not interesting yet.
No. And of course, we could change the frequency of the rooms and all the rest of the.
Go for it.
All the fun.
Rare room charts currently isn't connected.
Right.
Because I don't have.
Let me turn the screen back on for people.
Yep.
So is that these export variables here?
Yes. So, I mean, you do it in the inspector if you want. They're export variables.
Nice.
So click on tiles.
So this is 25% of the squares are going to be. Is that how
Correct.
that works? Okay, so I could lower this down to 2, make this larger again.
Yeah,
100 by 100.
I wouldn't do 100 by 100.
No, that would be like a kilometer square. But this should be primarily corridors, right?
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah.
Which is a completely different feel of game. There was a random one earlier that did have a ton of corridors on it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something down there. I mean, it might actually be easier to find the end this way, but
I imagine so.
But it does feel.
Oh, it's a library. They haven't seen the library. Oh, they have seen the library. Never mind. They've seen it.
But just by changing those parameters, it's amazing how different this feels. That we're not.
I mean, there's things like we can change the color of the torches and the color of the ambient light, and that will massively change how it works, as well as the color of the volumetric fog.
Found another library. It might be the same one for all I know.
Which is great when you're trying to create a more like the deeper down the dungeon you go, the less natural the lighting gets, that kind of thing, right? Like a visual signifier of where you are.
And also you could increase different levels. I mean, you could literally make a labyrinth like this where it's very difficult. I don't know how fun it will be. That's a different question. But
I mean, the other thing is there's an erase fraction, which you could go into. And that is, so if the erase fraction is 0, there is only a single path. There are no junctions.
This one here.
Yeah.
Oh, so this would give you a very linear
Don't
experience.
do it here. Don't do it in the inspector.
Oh, yes. Otherwise,
then all you have to do is press reset. You won't lose anything.
Yeah. -86. Nice. So if this is set as 0, we should just be able to follow it through to the end, right?
No, you did the wrong one. Come back. Now you have 0 rooms, but the same amount of junctions. You want the erase fraction.
Sorry, this one here. There we go. So that's 0, and this.
And now you just have a, yeah.
And hopefully that'll load up. And now we should have room after room after room, basically. But only one path through. So
only one way through. A tutorial.
Yes, essentially. Maybe we would make a tutorial room.
And mostly, like, these rooms are nowhere near finished, and that's without all the props and things in them. Like, this is just me playing with, okay, what do we have? What can I do to make this interesting? Like, the green pulsing light. Make sure the library feels a little different. The volumetric fog is so thick, I can't make the library feel less.
Oh.
There's red light in there, so the smoke looks red.
There should only be one path, but there are two.
Yeah. Well, no.
This could lead to a dead end.
The algorithm could go to the end and then come back. Every square will be filled.
Yeah.
But there's no erased walls to make more junctions. Sorry,
that makes sense. Yeah, it's the way the algorithm works.
Yeah.
So yes, these are the assets all in place, and I don't know how. Well, I probably should have picked.
These are the current, very early prototype assets in place. They're not all in place. They're not, finished, but yes.
I do like this.
Getting the occlusion to work was fun. Getting the shadows to work properly was fun. Getting the physics to work with the benches, just getting rigid bodies to accept that they're being kicked by a character body and still able to move afterwards, just took a little bit of extra work.
So I'm going to end that bit there.
Yep.
So we learned a lot by actually getting it into the game.
Yes.